Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dyson Boys. I'm Jay.
I'm Bobby.
That is my baby brother. Left is at it again. Well, first, before we even get to that, today is 9/11, okay? And nearly 3,000 folks lost their lives 17 years ago on this day. And I remember where I was. And me and the boys were on vacation back here. I was living in California then. And I remember that morning. And just, we had flown in, and when they shut down the airspace, it's like, oh my goodness, we can't get back home. And I remember that plane ride back to California, man. It's like the boys and I slept all the way. And when we got back to terra firma, the boys asked me, were you scared, Dad? It's like, yeah, I was scared. Well, you didn't act like it. Well, I couldn't act like it in front of you guys, because Mike, my oldest boy, he was 12 at the time, and David was 10. So, I had to, be strong for them, so to speak. I remember that. And I remember the feeling I got when the firefighters and all those guys rushed into the towers to try to save folks, and then the towers collapsed. And how euphoric Abdul was about the top, because they thought that they had destroyed our financial system.
Yeah.
They thought they had brought our financial system to its knees. It's like, catastrophes, you always have plans for catastrophes, Abdul. You thought you hit the center of our financial world in New York, because that's where the stock exchange is, and that's where, the Twin Towers, a lot of financial institutions there in the Twin Towers, so you thought you brought the whole thing to its knees.
Yeah. And it just wasn't Abdul. I'm pulling this story up from Jihad Watch. Memories of leftist glee about 9/11. I remember this, and it pissed me off. But I'm not going to go into all that. It's like, and you can get the story at jihadwatch.com if you want to read it whole. I'm just going to read a little bit here. And the reporter is writing, I will never forget how 17 years ago on this day, many of the leftists around me in my neighborhood and community had very little trouble expressing their glee about Al-Qaeda, the strike on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. I had known some of these leftists for years, and after the fall of the Soviet Empire in 1989 to 91, many of them bitterly lamented to me that the alternative to capitalism was now gone. A significant number of them retreated into silence and sullen shell. Almost overnight, then came 9/11. Almost overnight, these individuals underwent a miraculous transformation. A bright sparkle could be once again be detected in their eyes as their revolutionary selves came out of the deep slumber. Never had I seen them so happy, so hopeful, and ready for another attempt to create a glorious revolutionary future. Without doubt, September 9/11 represented a personal and morbid vindication for them. You can read the rest of the story on, like I said, jihadwatch.com if you want to. But, that very idea, I was thinking about this all day yesterday. I'm too old to remember World War II or Pearl Harbor.
You're too young to remember.
Too young to remember World War II and Pearl Harbor. But I remember talking to my parents about it, and especially my grandfather, my maternal grandfather. I spent quite a bit of time with him one summer, and at that time I wanted to know about this, so I was always asking him questions. And he told me how when Pearl Harbor happened, nobody had even heard of the place, But within that happened on that Sunday, and he said by that Friday, every able-bodied man was down at the recruiter's office trying to get signed up, because they knew that we were going to war. And, and that spirit of being an American, and we didn't know where Pearl Harbor was, he said. We had never heard of it. but all we knew that, the American fleet had been destroyed. And, it was an attack on America. So it was like, you might as well dropped it in the bomb in my backyard. That was the sentiment. And so everybody, okay, we're going to war. And I do remember when Kennedy was assassinated, and that sense of mourning that America had at that time. It was just, it was just a sullen week. And I remember that, sitting in front of that TV all day, watching that, and people, there wasn't a lot of talk. There wasn't a lot of chit chat, We got out of school whenever that happened. I can't remember the day of the week it happened.
It was on a Thursday.
Thursday. We got out of school.
No, I'll take that back. It was November 22nd.
Yeah.
Whatever day of the week that was.
Yeah, it was an Indian summer day. It's a real nice day.
Yeah, it was a nice day.
And I just remember coming home from school that day, and my mother was sitting in front of the TV crying, And I'm like, okay, and I'm 11, 12 years old. I didn't really understand what had happened. I heard about Abraham Lincoln, learned this stuff in school. But the mood in the country was different. Everywhere you went. That was the first time I walked home from school and nobody was playing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got to wherever, people, turned and went down the street to go off. They would just leave the group and everybody just went their way. There was no talking. It was all the way home. It was different. And when 9/11 happened, you listening to these, this is the reason I really stopped watching CNN, because I'm sitting there listening to these people, and it's like there was no remorse. There was no feeling that, something bad had happened.
You remember Walter Cronkite when he got on news that afternoon and when Kennedy was shot, and it was announced that Kennedy had passed away. I remember Walter Cronkite, and for those of you too young to remember Walter Cronkite, he was like the epitome of a newsman. He had reported during World War II. That's where he gained his fame, is in World War II.
Korea.
And so he was the anchor man of news broadcasts back then. This is in the 60s. It was him and the guys on NBC. I just had their name in my head. Huntley and Brinkley.
Yeah.
They were the news anchors of news anchors, with Walter Cronkite sitting at the top of that list. And I remember when he announced that Kennedy had passed away, you heard his voice crack.
Right.
And, because it was something that hit hard. I remember when they made the announcement over the PA system in school. I was in the 7th grade at that time. And when they made the announcement that he'd been shot, that Kennedy had been shot, and it was like this eerie silence just fell over the classroom.
Yeah.
And then when they announced that he had passed away, Kennedy had passed away, just another form of silence fell over the whole society. And like you said, Bobby, walking home from school, there was no energy to want to play. Yeah. I mean, your president had just been shot and killed.
Yeah. It was like, everybody was of the same mind.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. People were just like, hey, this is something bad has happened. Mm-hmm. I remember the principal coming to the room, said, the president's been shot. And then he came back, a little bit later, and we were kind of sitting there kind of stunned. And he came back and he said, the president has died and everybody's going to get out of school. We went outside and stood around the flagpole. They lowered it to half staff. And, and we walked home. And like I said, when I walked in the house, mother was sitting in front of the TV, wiping tears from her eyes. And it was just like, and it was like that all week. And the thing about it, it was an Indian summer day, that Thursday. All that rest of the week, it was rain, it was cloudy, until, and it was like a pall had settled over the country. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But the idea that people were killed in this attack on 9/11, and you were gleeful about that, those are the times when I say you have to appeal to your better angels, because you feel like getting a Louis Slugger and popping somebody upside the head.
Yeah. How do you celebrate that?
How do you celebrate some people? Well, it's America's fault. If they were blah blah blah. But do you have to? That's the first thing you throw out here. This is why I quit watching the regular news. That was the day I quit. Because I turned on the TV and I saw this building burning in the background behind Peter Jennings. So I turned it on CNN to see what happened. It was the same image. And they were sitting there talking, blah, 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 blah. And then the plane came and it hit, that second plane hit. And I said, okay, we going to war.
Yeah. That was my thought too. Somebody's going to pay for that.
Yeah, and I had to leave. I remember I got up that morning. Agnes woke me up, said, hey, we're leaving. She left, took the kids with her. And I had to go. I think I was doing a deck at the time because I was working outside. So I turned on the TV to get the weather, and I saw that. And I was like, okay, what is this? It looked like, first I thought it was some kind of goofy commercial or something. And so I said, well, let me turn it over here and see and it was the same thing. And so I said, oh, wow, we going to war.
Yeah.
And I left, drove out to the Home Depot, and some people knew about it, some people didn't. They said, you hear about what happened? I said, yeah, we can ready to go to war, man. He said, you think so? I said, yeah.
Yeah. That was my first reaction,
we
too.
getting ready to go to war, though.
Yeah. I remember thinking, somebody's going to pay for this.
Yeah.
And someone's going to pay dearly. But like you said, to hear people in this country talking about how it was America's fault that it happened.
We're happy about it.
Seem to be happy about it. It's like, you feel like you want to take a baseball bat to these folks, and it's like, what the heck is wrong with you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? How can you be so callous and so self-centered that you look at that? And this is the difference. They say liberalism and leftists are different. Back then I would buy that. Liberals weren't callous, cold-hearted people. They were wrong, but they weren't callous, cold-hearted people. Nowadays, you got this, I'll do anything that I need to do. I don't care who I have to hurt, to get my way. I will do it, and this is what we're dealing with today. People who have no compassion. And it's going to be people talking about this today, like, what's the big deal? We need to get over that and all that kind of nonsense, and that upsets me more than the attack itself.
To bring that point to this, there's a group out there now. We all know about Brett Kavanaugh. The confirmation hearings. We've seen the levels that the Democrats will stoop to keep Kavanaugh from being confirmed. Not that they can stop anything. They can't stop the confirmation. But the things that they'll do to keep him from being confirmed by the Senate for the next Supreme Court Justice, Associate Justice. Let me read you something off a website here called crowdpack.fund or crowdpack.com. And this is to show how the left continues with the same old worn out talking points that they've been throwing at us for years now. Anyway, there's a group of folks in Maine where Susan Collins, who is senator from Maine, where she's from, they've started this crowd pack funding campaign against her, saying that if she votes in the affirmative to confirm Brett Kavanaugh, they will give her opponent in 2020, whoever that is, it could be Deputy Dog or Yogi Bear, whoever it is, they're going to give that person $1.3 million to campaign and run against her. If she votes yes. If she votes no, they won't do it. It's like, wait a minute, you trying to hijack her? Is that what you're doing? Smells a little bit like bribery. If you give us something of value, which is your no vote, Susan Collins, then we won't fund your opponent in 2020. If, however, you vote in the affirmative, we will. Now, here's what they've done. These organizations. They've gotten people to come on and pledge money. Okay? So, got the pledge. If she votes no, their credit cards won't be hit. If she votes yes, their credit cards will be hit. I wonder how many people are going, whoa, wait a minute, what's this? What are you doing hitting my credit card? Well, you pledged. It's like, yeah, but you shouldn't be hitting my credit card. So some people are probably going to have a problem with that. Right now, at last count, there was $1 million pledged so far, as of today. So they're asking for $25, $50, $250, or any other amount. Their goal is $1.3 million. There are 35,000, almost 36,000 people that have pledged on this campaign. Now, so we have that going on. While at the same time, people on the left are always trying to come up with ways to stop conservatives from speaking, from being elected, or any other thing.
By any means necessary.
So, people are calling for an investigation into this. Is this bribery or not? Because you're saying to an elected official, if you vote this way, if you give us what we want, that no vote, we won't fund your opponent's campaign in 2020. However, if you vote the way we don't want you to vote, then we will give this money over. So are you hijacking her?
Sounds like it to me. Everyone sounds like it to anybody with a reasonable sense of...
So, again, bribery, one of the definitions of bribery is you're asking an elected official to give you something of value. In other words, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
Yeah.
Okay? That's like saying to a police officer when he pulls you over, you were doing 100 in a 25 mile an hour zone, and he pulls you over and you offer him something of value for not writing the ticket. Hey, I'll make a contribution to the Fraternal Order of Police. Hey, you got kids? Yeah, I got kids. They're in school? Yeah, they're in school. They need anything? Yeah, they need this. Hey, man, I'll get that for you.
If you don't write this ticket.
If you don't write this ticket. Something of value. Okay? In this case, what is the something of value? It's her vote.
Yeah.
It's her vote.
Vote no on Kavanaugh's confirmation and you get to go.
You get to go.
Don't vote no. If you vote yes, we're going to fund your opponent's campaign.
Yeah, yeah. So
2020.
So now listen to this idiocy here. I'm looking at their website, crowdpack.com. If you go to crowdpack.com, you'll be able to see the write-up for Susan Collins, and they even have a video there. What you'll have to do, at one point, I believe they had this over on the front page, but they moved it to the second page. Okay, so when you go to crowdpack.com, you'll have to, unless they change it again, you'll have to go down to where it says campaigns. I'm trying to get back to the home page here. They have a orange button that says Explore Campaigns. And if you click on Explore Campaigns, this is on the home page, so you have to scroll down a bit, Explore Campaigns, and then it'll take you over and show you her campaign or the campaign they have against her. And then you'll see a picture of her, and you just click on the picture and it'll take you over to the article. Now, one of the things they talked about in the article, and here's just a leftist talking point. Again, It says, the pending nomination of Brett Kavanaugh for Supreme Court Justice is a threat to everyday Mainers like us. So he's a threat. They always say that a conservative is a threat.
Yeah, well, they are.
It's like Trump is a threat to America.
To them.
Yeah.
They make it sound like it's America. But to them, he is a deadly threat to you.
And it goes on to say, let me find my place again. Your swing vote could decide, this is them talking to Collins, your swing vote could decide whether a rubber stamp for Trump's anti-health care, anti-woman, anti-labor agenda gets confirmed to the Supreme Court, costing millions of Americans their health care, their right to choose, and their lives. There we go with the scare tactics.
Yeah, got to use the scare tactics. Always got to come out with the scare tactics.
Always got to come out with the scare tactics. So, anti-labor. I didn't know Trump was anti-labor.
No.
Maybe he's anti-teachers union.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same thing to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Anti-woman. Anti-woman, anti-healthcare. How's he anti-healthcare? Explain to me, you loony liberals. You put that stuff out there, but you never give an explanation. How is Brett Kavanaugh going to be a rubber stamp for Trump's anti-woman, anti-healthcare, anti-labor agenda? You care to explain that?
No.
I hear you always, you loony liberals, and you lie in mainstream media. I hear you always leveling those charges, but you never have any specificity to it whatsoever. You just make the charges.
Just make the charge. It doesn't matter whether I can prove it or not. Once you make it, that's proof enough.
Then elsewhere in the article, Kavanaugh is committed to ending health care for people with pre-existing conditions. Again, bring some facts that says that he is, instead of you just saying it. See, because they know they got bobbleheads out there. They're going to, yeah, he is.
Yeah, and then
by what proof is that true?
Don't need proof. Trump-Russian collusion.
Yep.
Didn't need proof. It was there.
Listen to this. He is committed to overturning Roe v. Wade. Didn't he say in one of the sessions that Roe v. Wade was settled law?
Yeah.
So now they come out and say he's committed to Roe v. Wade when he said, hey, Roe v. Wade is settled law. See what they do?
Of course. They do the same thing all the time.
All the time.
They it's the smoke and mirrors, it's the sideshow, at the carnival. It's always with the left. You don't need to confirm anything. You just throw it out there.
Just throw it out there.
And, like Woodward's book, there's this atmosphere of discombobulation in the Trump administration. They don't know what they're doing up there. Trump is out of his mind, and blah, 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 blah. Well, Mr.
Trying to make a case for the 25th Amendment.
Anonymous sources. Well, if it was that bad, why didn't Anonymous come out and say it? If it's that bad, I want to save the nation from this man. Why didn't they come out and say it?
If it were that bad, Trump wouldn't be getting, his administration wouldn't be getting anything done.
Nope.
None whatsoever. It would be chaotic all across the country.
All across the country. But see, what the news media, the MSMs are going to tell you is the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. Jeff Sessions, the silent assassin, he's knocking these dudes down behind the scenes. They don't want to say anything about it because they don't want America to know.
It destroys their agenda.
Yeah, they don't want America to know that this kind of stuff is happening. They kind of want to talk about him, but they really don't want to put him in the light because then you have to examine what he's doing. So they throw out the old smoke and the mirrors and the same rhetoric, the same talking points to get you off point. Well, this is happening over here. Look, squirrel. It's the same stuff. It's always something over here. No, look over here. Don't look at that. Look over here. Look at this. Look at racism. Look at sexism. Look at homophobia. Look at Islamophobia. Look at all this other stuff. Don't look at what's happening. Don't look at that man behind the curtain. I'm the all-powerful Oz. Look at me. Don't pay attention to him. And the curtain's being pulled off of him. And the more it's being pulled off him, the more people are becoming frustrated with them and saying, hey, I can't stand for this anymore.
But the more the curtain gets pulled back too, you can look at this on the obverse also. The more the curtain gets pulled back, the more vicious they get.
Yeah.
Because they see that, hey, we're skating on thin ice here with our agenda. We're being exposed. Okay? Hey, I think John Bolton did something really brilliant yesterday.
Yes, he did.
We're changing gears here, folks, okay? I think he did something really brilliant yesterday. In his first speech ever after joining the Trump administration, he's NSA now. Good position for him.
Yeah.
He told the PLO. Now, I didn't know this myself, that the PLO had offices in New York.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that myself. He told the PLO, hey, pack your bags. Get to stepping. Okay? Call Uber and tell them to give you a ride to the airport.
Because you're out of here.
You're out. Gone.
We don't recognize you anymore.
And, of course, the PLO, they start with the victimization thing. No, get out.
Yeah, well, you play that how you want to.
Get out.
But you're getting out of here.
You're leaving here.
It's like the old, I ain't saying you got to go home when they tell you to leave the club.
Yeah.
I ain't saying you got to go home, but you got to leave here.
You got to leave here. You have to leave here. Why did the Trump administration make a move like that? Because the PLO, you ain't no good.
Yeah.
You're a terrorist organization. We are in support of our allies, Israel. You want their destruction. You don't want to come to the peace table. All you want to do is go out there and destroy stuff.
Yeah.
That's all you want to do. You don't want peace. Never been a part of your agenda in the first place. The total destruction of Israel. That's been your agenda. Now, you got offices here on our homeland, and you're an enemy of my ally, and you call for their total destruction. You don't want to sit down at the peace table and negotiate peace? Get to stepping. My thing is, there's another organization that Trump can tell to get to stepping. That's the UN.
Yeah.
That's nothing but a leftist organization.
Yeah.
That's nothing but a country, all these countries who are anti-Semitic.
Anti-Western.
Yep,
period.
Anti-Western.
They don't.
Get to stepping. Hey, why don't you go set up offices right next door to the PLO?
Why don't you go set them up in Somalia?
Yeah, or Yemen.
Why don't you go there? And UN piece that place to death.
Yeah. It used to irk me so bad, especially during the Clinton administration. Anytime they sent our troops anywhere to any hot spot in the world, they did it under the auspices of the UN. UN peacekeeping forces. Keeping what peace?
Yeah.
That used to bug me so bad to see our military be used like that. Under the auspices of the UN. Knowing that, and then they would put some Egyptian or whatever
Greek
general over our troops.
Or command of American troops.
Yeah.
And it had never happened before, but old Billy Bob did it. And before we get out of here, I want to bring up a point, because I've been reading a lot of websites, and a lot of you are out there, speaking about your frustrations and about your, when is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? I know a lot of you want to see perp walks. You want to see people
in orange suits.
In orange jumpsuits, being taken to trial. Okay. One thing I have against conservatives over the years, and that really gets to me, is a lack of intensity about what we are trying to do. Trump is not trying to arrest people for boosting at Wally World. We're talking about treason here. We're talking about people that have worked to do things against this nation. Just because this isn't like, the police catch a perp, they, put him in jail, and then they bring a case against him, the prosecutor brings a case against him, and then it goes to trial. This is not what we're talking about. The one thing that frustrates me about conservatives is how you guys look at evil. It's like you don't really want to talk about it. Anytime I talk about it, it's like, I don't really want to talk about that subject. I don't really want to talk about evil. Well, whether you want to talk about it or not, it's out there.
It's out there.
It doesn't hit you until your child comes missing at the mall. When they snatch your kid, then it's relevant. But these people that Trump administration is fighting, these people are vile, they're wicked, they believe in abomination, they satanic. I know a lot of you don't want to talk about that, but I'm here to tell you, we are at war right now. Mm-hmm. I know Congress hasn't declared it, but hey,
there's a war
when you start calling up fleets that's been in mothballs, to the North Atlantic Fleet got called up this year, something is going on, people. We are at war. And Trump is trying to fight a war, not play to my sensibilities. Yeah, I would rather see Hillary Clinton not walking around. Yeah, but the larger picture is it's about good and evil. It's not about Muslims. It's not about Christians. It's not about right. It's not about left. It's a good versus evil. You don't want to talk about it. I know you don't like that subject, but I'm here to tell you, I could care less if I never see Hillary Clinton in an orange jumpsuit. If she's taken off the map, that's what I want to see. When she can do nothing,
yeah.
When she can affect none of your lives, none of your kids' lives, that for the next 2-3 generations, these people are undone.
They're insignificant,
so that you don't have to worry about somebody snatching your kid up in public and carting them off to whatever kind of horrors that they have to experience.
Into some human trafficking thing.
I mean, this is what they're doing. So you need to be patient, and I'm going to leave you with this. Ulysses S. Grant, when he took command of the Army of the Potomac, he was listening to his generals, and they were saying, well, we do this, what's Bobby Lee going to do? If we do that, what's Bobby Lee going to do? If we do this, what's Bobby Lee going to do? And Grant got sick of hearing that. He said, all I'm hearing is Bobby Lee this, Bobby Lee, Bobby Lee, Bobby Lee. I'm sick of hearing that. Why don't you start thinking about what you're going to do to Bobby Lee other than what he's going to do to you? And another thing, Reagan, when he was president, this was what turned me conservative. He was at a news conference. And it's something to do with foreign policy in Russia. And all the, leftist media, oh my God, you're going to piss the Russians off. Well, what is Russia going to do about it? What if you do that? What will Russia do? And he had left the mic and somebody yelled out, well, what about the Russians? And he was like, he came back to the mic and said, you don't need to worry about what the Russians going to do. The Russians need to worry about what I'm going to do. So instead of you, twiddling your fingers, wondering if something's going to happen, hey, stay strong. Be in the mix. Come out of the closet, people. Stop being timid and afraid some leftist going to shout you down.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what?
And they're just going to use the same old stuff against you. I just read you what they said about Susan Collins and Brett Kavanaugh. The same old thing.
Be strong. Yep. Stay confident. Inform yourself so that you know what you are talking about. And forget what the left is talking about. I don't care how many judges they got, how many police chiefs they got. Look, I know my God. And God has never lost a conflict yet. Okay? So we're on the top of these things. And Trump is on the top of these people. That's why they're fighting him so hard.
Yep.
Now, all they got is the media left to them. Mm-hmm. He's gotten rid of all the crap in the deep state. All the people that was in the DOJ, all those people that were in the FBI, all the people in the NSA and CIA. He's gotten rid of all them people.
He's taken their eyes and ears away from them.
They don't know what Trump's going to do from one minute to the next. So dealing like it's like the game is over. You know you're going to lose, but you're going to call this timeout. Because you want to say, well, yeah, you beat me, but I went down fighting, Okay, fine. They're going to do that. Nothing is more dangerous than a cornered animal. So, okay, fine. But people, do not get discouraged. Do not get upset because things aren't moving in the direction you think they should be moving. You don't see the whole picture. You don't have access to everything the administration has access to. It doesn't have to go your way. Evil just has to be put down. Yeah. However that happens, long as evil is put down, you should be satisfied.
Last night on Hannity, he had Carter Page on, and he was interviewing him. And after the interview, well, even during the interview, I'm saying to myself, don't have this guy back on anymore. It's like, Carter Page, come on, man. These folks try to destroy you, man. Take everything away from you. And you're up there soft-soaping it. Well, I'm just doing this because I don't want to see America destroyed. It's like, dude, man, they tried to take you out.
Yeah.
Had that been me and Sean Hannity was sitting in front of me interviewing me, I want to see all of them go to jail. I'm going to do everything I can to see that all of them go to jail. Come on, man, grow a set.
Yeah.
It's like Bobby said, come on, conservatives. Be bold, man.
Yeah.
So what they're going to call you a racist? So what? So what they're going to call you a xenophobe? So what? That's what they always do. We've talked about this with you before, people. This is what they do.
They want you silent.
I just read you what they said about Brett Kavanaugh with relation to Susan Collins. Hey, he's going to get on the court, and all of a sudden we're going to see rulings that are anti-woman, anti-health care, going to overturn Roe v. Wade. They use that stuff all the time because that's all they have.
And the Supreme Court, quietly, Trump is, appointing lower court judges. Getting those
activist judges
out of the lower courts, so they see that power is being taken away from them. They understand that they will not be able to bring nonsense charges against people and have it float all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, okay, yeah, they can't rewrite the Constitution. This is what they've wanted to do for decades. If we could get rid of the stupid Second Amendment, stupid First Amendment, then we can do what we want to do. Hey, people, we've been waiting to get to this point for a long time. Now we hear somebody is actually fighting these people. We're not hoping that one day somebody will stand up against them. This is the day. This is the time to be courageous. This is the time to be bold. I'm tired of listening to people talk, maybe they just going to get, I'm sick of that. I really am. That's always frustrated me with conservatives. No backbone. No courage.
Yep.
As soon as the leftist says something, you fold up.
You fold up. Because you don't want that leftist, that loony liberal, that lying mainstream media. You're more concerned about the names that they're going to call you instead of you being concerned about standing up and being bold. Come on, folks. Really? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. The words that they use and the names that they call me and call my brother, man, I could care less about that. If you want to come and you want to talk to me about it, man, you better come with some good stuff. Anti-woman, anti-healthcare, anti-labor. You better bring some facts that show me that person is exactly what you say they are.
And what you're going to find out when you start throwing, like I say, your best weapon is a question.
Yep.
Well, how exactly is that going to happen? Well, blah, 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 blah. Well, how is that going to happen? Well, and you'll find out they don't want to talk to you no more.
Just think about this. When a socialist is asked, how are you going to pay for this? Man, they start going down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an answer to the question. So they'll take you down a rabbit hole. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's come back up out of the rabbit hole.
Come out the rabbit hole, dog.
That's what you have to do with them. Come back up out of the rabbit hole, man.
Answer the question.
To the best of your ability.
That's all you have. With leftists, you constantly saying that. Yeah, but you did not answer my question. How are you going to do what you just said? Well, the Americans are now, we ain't talking about that. How are you going to do what you just said? If you were the king, how would you implement that? How would you implement that? If you were president, what would you do? You know? And it's like, they're not used to answering those questions. They're used to, rattling off the talking points.
Yep.
And everything. But if you arm yourself with the truth and you throw that at them, guaranteed, they will not want to talk to you anymore.
Oh, they're going to cut you loose.
Yeah, they're going to cut you loose.
And then they're going to, on their way out the door, they're going to flip you off.
Yeah.
Okay? So they're going to cut you loose.
And yeah, you might lose some family members. We have. Everybody else have. You're not in that boat by yourself.
Yep.
And your friends aren't going, some of your friends are going to, not want to be around you. Well, just like you made those friends, you can make new friends. If you want to make some new friends, go to a Donald Trump MAGA rally.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, get with people of like mind, but this timid, wishy-washy, I don't know, I'm not in that camp. I can't do that.
I can't do it.
I can't do that. If we can't be bold about this thing, why even bother?
Why even bother?
The one thing I've learned about leadership is when you try to lead, you out there on your own. Because people say, yeah, I'm behind you. Look behind you and ain't nobody there. It's just you. Oh, well, whatever, you do the best you can do. I ain't asking you to go out here and turn into Daniel Boone or anything like that, but be strong where you are. Don't let people push you around and push you off your points because you think, well, I really don't know much about that. Okay, well, how much do you know about what you're talking about?
Right. Nothing. All right, let's close her out.
All right, everybody, that's my rant. And we're done for today. Appreciate you people again. Thanks for all the comments, all the likes, and all the subscriptions. We appreciate that very much. If you want to see more of this, hit that like button to let us know that we're doing a good job for you. And hit the down thumbs if you don't like what we're talking about. But either way, comment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell so you can get alerts every time we put up a new video. And hey, again, we really appreciate you people.
Yes, we do. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Have a good one.